2, rolling. 1, 2, 3. You know what I gotta do?
He crazy, y'all. He crazy.
Nigga, I know. So what? You love it when you get this.
Samuel.
Putting that in the podcast, huh? Right.
So now I have to practice talking into this camera too and into that camera because we're going to be uploading all of this from all the angles. Hey, you guys. Welcome to Can I Talk My Shift?
Can I?
I am not pretty today. I'm pretty every day, but I am not in real clothes today because, sometimes you just, when you're practicing, you just practice how you, with what you got. And this is what I got right now because I have to be outside all day today. And I want to be as comfy as I can right now. And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
All right.
Hey, love.
Yo, what's up?
Happy recording day.
It's Thursday.
You know what Thursday is in Spanish?
Nope, because I'm black.
I forgot what it is.
Aboriginal.
I forgot what
Indigenous.
it is. I think it's... Wait. I forgot.
All right. Yo, Can I Talk My Shift podcast? Behind the scenes. Practice episode number 80. No, it's like number 5. Exciting times, man. We keep rearranging things and working it and trying to figure out how we want it to look. I think this is probably going to be the best look. We want you guys to let us know how this looks to you. Okay? I know this is main camera 1 and then this is camera 2. And for some reason, I always like looking at camera 2 more than camera 1.
I like looking more at camera 1 than camera 2.
Yeah. But I'm going to need to work on doing it this way and engaging in the main camera and this just being the side camera.
Jueves.
So she is going to be the one that has the laptop that can Google shit. She is a very, very logistical, intellectual, and analytical thinker. A beautiful Aries mind. Do you know your moon?
I don't remember it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm Scorpio, Sun, Sagittarius moon, Taurus, rising or ascendant, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know those by heart yet.
So
I'm learning.
I don't think it really matters. Unless you really diving in deep to trying to figure out yourself. Self-discovery.
That's what we talk about on here. Some of what we talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Can I Talk My Shift is the title.
Yes.
What's the premise?
This show is aimed at helping current and former people pleasers increase their self-awareness, their interpersonal relationships, meaning their relationships with their self, and their own accountability.
Okay. So, people pleasers. Can you really be a former? Or is it kind of like addiction where once you are kind of established and you know that you have addictive traits, then you'll always be an addict, but you know how to manage so you don't succumb to your addiction.
So maybe we should say current and former toxic people pleasers.
Okay.
Because it's okay to be a people pleaser if you are imparting your boundaries and you're doing it in a healthy way.
Okay.
So I think that from an addict standpoint, from someone who is, say, you are an alcoholic, like serious alcoholic, they are encouraged to not drink ever because that genetic part of them is still always there. Or someone with anxiety. I have anxiety. I can't say I had anxiety. I now know how to manage my anxiety.
Right.
So for people pleasers, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, you guys may want to look it up, but I think that there are two types of people pleasers. I think there is a toxic people pleaser. I think there's a healthy version of a people pleaser.
Is this based on some research that you've done, or?
It is based on some research that I've done, and the way that I have determined how I want to relay that information to our audience, to you guys, is that there are two types.
Got it.
Because people pleasing is not in and of itself a bad thing until you start utilizing those traits in a toxic way.
Got you. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because I know you all don't know out there a little bit about our background. This is my fiance, okay, who is not only the hostess of the podcast, but we have an extensive history. Even I would even go so far as to say in other lifetimes. You may look at that crazy, but it's just some things that we understand about each other and that we understood about one another when we first met. And even now, even though it's only been 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
It feels way longer. And that's not a bad thing, right? So to say all of that, I had a battle with alcohol. So when she said alcoholic, that's why I was able to relate people pleasing kind of like to that, because one of the things that I realized is 3 years sober is that, thank you.
Wait, love. Let's not
overlook
gloss
that.
over that.
Yeah.
That's a really big thing for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And you being able to tell your story and share the depth at which you were drinking, and now 3 years and 1 month sober. I mean, that's something to celebrate. Yeah.
1 month yesterday.
That's something to celebrate. And I think it's going to be encouragement for people to see, like, wow, like maybe they don't do it like you did it. Because I really think that the way that you did it was like extreme, and I've never heard of it. But the fact that you did it will bring encouragement to somebody else who is like, you know what? They're tired of being tired.
Right there. That is it. That's it. And that's the whole premise of the podcast. That's the whole premise of living in full-blown self-awareness, accountability, leadership, and life after loss, right? Because you always pinpoint back to the situations where that maybe were the starting point or the foundation of other habits that we create. So with the alcohol shit, I was like, yo, I mean, I'm not even gonna front. It wasn't anyone that was telling me that, yo, I was drinking too much, because a lot of people were still doing the same thing that I was doing. A lot of the people I was rolling with. It wasn't the ones who were actually telling me, yo, you got a problem. You drink way too much and this and that. And it wasn't even the fact that I had a daughter. And that may sound selfish, but I'm living in full-blown truth. I'm telling you, it wasn't even the fact that she was living that stopped me. It was just, it got to a point where I was like, yo, this can't be my life. Period. It just can't be my life. There's got to be more. I've experienced, I think, all that I can experience while being intoxicated, because if you all know, when you're intoxicated, everything kind of just is one big memory. Every different event that you go to, if you're intoxicated, you can kind of like just say it's one long event in a string of years. If you was super intoxicated when you was married, if you got married, your bachelor party, somebody else's, I don't know, retirement, or if they got a good job, if you traveled overseas and you got drunk.
Anything that you celebrate.
Anything that you celebrated, and you was intoxicated, man, it's like, it's a one long string of events. And
not even that you celebrated, even the things that you're like trying to hide from, things you're trying to get away from. It's all just one big blob of, dang, like I didn't drink as much as you to the extent that you did, but I remember specific times where it was like, wow, like just this stretch of time where it's like, dang, all I did was drink during that time. And not that I'm not at a place where I am completely sober, if you will. I'll still have a drink, every now and then, a glass of wine every now and then. But just being around you more and more, it's just like, well, what else is there to drink? So now we celebrate with juicing. You might see one of these on the show every now and then. Right. And, but I really am being more in tune with how things make me feel. Okay. How things make my body feel. And so, if having a glass of wine is something where it's like, I could take it or leave it. I really can take it or leave it. It's not this, oh my gosh, I have to have the stereotype with like moms, they got all the kids, and so let me just go get this wine because it's gonna make everything all right. Be relaxed. It's not like that, because I will say I probably drank the most I've ever drank in 2020. Okay. The most, because I had nothing to do. I didn't have anything. Like there was nothing going on.
Was that a year? Can you say, all right, so you said 2020 was the year that you probably drank the most. Yeah. Was that a year where there was a lot of setbacks, bad decisions, anything of that nature? Can you equate?
It was just a pandemic. It was like,
I understand for me, that, but I'm not even talking about the pandemic though. I'm just saying, for you, do you think that that was a year where you made maybe more bad decisions than other years? Or because that's how I kind of look at my life.
No. Okay. I mean, did I make some bad decisions? Yes. But did I equate it to how much I was drinking? No. And I would say throughout that year, it was literally just about experimenting, because we had all this extra time. So it was like, I was eating good, and, I was at home, and I was teaching from home and all of that. But it was like, well, I mean, let's go try this wine. Let me try this. Let me see how this tastes. Oh, I haven't had this before. Let's try this. And so I found myself like just trying wines. Or one thing that I would do is with two of my girlfriends, like we get on Zoom or FaceTime, have FaceTime conversation, binge watch a show, and drink wine while we watch the show.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's what we did. Now, previous years, the only other time, like I say, I drank even as much, and it wasn't like bottles a day, but like I would definitely go through close to a bottle a day, by myself.
Of wine.
I
did it with alcohol.
Yeah, I didn't do. I had cocktails. I would make myself cocktails every now and then, but it was like wine.
I did that shit with alcohol.
And that is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like for these purposes, it's like I didn't want to gloss over the extent and the celebration of being 3 years and 1 month sober for him. I wanted you to recognize that, like, take a moment and recognize that big win, because that's not a small win, that's a big win.
Yeah.
I wanted you to take a moment and recognize that, because I'm sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure that during that time there was a lot of instances where maybe you did it out of people pleasing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I kind of got into it. I got into drinking because of that. You know, the homies at the time. I was one of them people, I was like, yo, I ain't never gonna drink. I ain't never gonna smoke.
Really?
Yeah, because I was full-blown sports in high school. You feel me? Like, well, this is cap. That's cap, because I tried smoking in my earlier years when I was like in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, in middle school, we tried smoking cigarettes, right? You know, I think everybody does.
Everybody
tried to sneak off and do that shit, right?
Me.
Yeah, so, you know, so I tried that then, but that's what made me not like it. Feel what I'm saying? So I was like, I ain't gonna do this shit, man. That shit is crazy, and blah, blah. But it was a period where I was every day with the friends, like, you know, smoking and shit, cigarettes. And that was like middle school. Yeah. And so, but, you know, as I got older and then we hit college, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of free roaming around. You know, I didn't have the typical childhood. I wasn't like in a stable home. I had like a couple different houses that were I would consider home.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Outside of my own home, especially after high school.
Yeah.
So because of that and having all these different influences, right, and then not wanting to do anything to jeopardize not having those spaces to go to, I became a huge people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I never thought about this until right now. When we were younger, and probably even when we were in our 20s and maybe even a little bit in our 30s, you know, we don't call it people pleasing. We call it peer pressure.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we're younger,
I feel like that's
it's
a part
like,
of it, for
okay,
sure.
peer pressure. Now, I always say I got into track because of peer pressure. Like, it not a bad thing. It was just everybody was saying that I should run track because they've seen my athletic ability. And I just wasn't into it for any other reason than literally I didn't feel like my family would support it. Like, I didn't feel like I felt like it would come with struggle getting, you know, picked up from practice, having to go to these meets, got to get all this new gear. Like, you know, you pay for, when you're in sports, you're pretty much paying in one way or another to participate. So I didn't think my parents would support in that way. But because of peer pressure, good peer pressure, I was able to immerse myself in a sport that I mean, at that time I became addicted to. And it became an outlet from my own home.
Okay.
But when you say that, you know, you were around people that, you know, did it, and, you know, they drank and they encouraged you to drink. And then when they found out, oh, he's fun. Oh, facts. It's like, oh, have some more.
I made my whole identity. Like, once I figured out, oh shit, I can turn this into something and make it an identity and attach it to, you know, said, you know, whatever events that I'm going and the thing that and persona that I'm creating. I'm like, oh yeah, it's game time. You feel me? So, but also, like, I can see how kids get caught up in the lifestyle that they want to portray, right? Because I always wanted to be in music. You know, anybody that knows me knows I make beats. You know, I make some pretty fire beats. I was a rapper, right? I'm a writer. So writing was always in my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that is one way. Like, you got to live this life and then, you know, talk about it over music. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like I was living out my college days a little too long. But that's because I had to grow up so fast. I ain't really get to have the childhood like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think my childhood shifted right at like, we might even say 5th grade for real. 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, 5th grade. Because, you know, I'm not saying that you have to have a happy home for it to be stable.
Right.
But, you know, this is just facts. Like, my parents, they were pretty much done with one another, but they was still in the household when I was in 5th grade. So now I'm living for the next 3 years seeing like combative adults, you know, emotional adults, non-emotional adults, or adults, excuse me. And so me picking up on all of this, like, I don't have no childhood because I got to make decisions. I don't really want to go bother Pop, and I don't want to bother Mom either because they in bad moods. So I just got to figure these things out for myself. I'm having a bad day. I don't even want to, I could see they having a bad day, so I don't even want to go bother them with my day. Yeah. So I figure out how to self-soothe as a child in my imagination, right? And I write and I draw and I do all of that shit. So fast forward, I get all of that snatched away, and it's like I got to learn how to self-soothe all the time. I don't really go to nobody.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I can. Right. So, but when I realized that I couldn't really hold shit down on my own, then I make a fake, you know, like, oh man, okay, like they need me to do this, so this is what I'm gonna do. So that way the house don't get separated. I don't get removed from something again. You feel what I'm saying? So I can always equate my shit back to certain things. But people pleasing is not just something that you just get. It's habitually created. Right. You know what I'm saying? Out of the scarcity mindset, out of fear, trauma, you know, and really just the need to want to be accepted. Right. Period. Like, I don't know where in a lot of our lives maybe we like weren't accepted for certain things, but that, along with other moments, outweighs the freedom of living how you want to live. Yeah. And that's a crazy thing when you think about it.
It really is. It's golly. So you guys remember how he said that we have known each other in previous lifetimes. The way that he's explaining some of this stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. I feel like I've heard it in different ways, but I'm hearing it for the first time. And so you saying that you have to self-soothe, you had to self-soothe, you learned to self-soothe when you were younger because of the environment that you were in, because you didn't want to ruffle feathers, bother one parent, bother the other parent. I feel like I did the exact same thing. You know, not that it was like this active all the time arguing, but just kids feel the energy. Facts. And even if you don't know what that is, you learn, okay, I don't want to go ask daddy for, I don't want to go talk to mommy because I know she gonna say. And my parents didn't outwardly argue with each other often, but when I remember the times that they did. And I remember doing literally the exact same thing. If I had the notebooks, I would share them with you, of poetry that I wrote, things that I just writing, drawing. I would draw like whatever, shoes. I would look at something in my room and like just focus on it and block out everything that may have been going on and just draw that thing. Like, I literally did the exact same thing. And then as I got older, you know, I had family come into town, so I spent a lot of time with them. My cousin had a set of twins when she was 23. Okay. And that was my outlet. And then when I got a little older and I was in high school, middle school, track came into my life. And so that's when the peer pressure / you know, people pleasing came into my life, because I just wanted to, or I'll say it came in when my cousin moved into town, because I just wanted to be validated, my voice to be heard. And even though I'm 11, there's somebody older than me listening to me. And it wasn't just this do what I say, you know, type rule in the house. So, I mean, you're so right. It really starts at a young age. It starts from a particular or set of traumas that have happened in your life. And so when it starts off as a toxic people-pleasing trait, a toxic peer pressure trait, then you have to now unlearn all of that people-pleasing, or, learn reasons why you're people-pleasing, for validation, because you don't want to be rejected, because you don't want to be not liked by someone, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And now you have to learn the proper way to people please, which, we've learned. We've learned some ways that people pleasing is actually healthy for us and healthy for you, because you need that part of being in your life too. You need to be a compassionate person, an understanding person towards other people.
Right. So to add to what you said, you gotta, first you get the inkling that something's off. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, you going against yourself more than one occasion, turning into a habit, turning into that's just who you are, and that's how people know you as. You always there to help them, and they don't really question if you need help. Right? There's something off with that. So I also say, like, once you identify that, like the inkling, you go with your intuition, like, yo, something is really going on. Like, I don't really know what this thing is. And then you probably go on a hunt, or you ask some questions, whatever. But once you find out what it is, you can go one or two ways, I feel. You can go the methodical route with psychology, and, you start reading all of these books from, people that are psychologists, and, I'll say the institutionalized versions and verbiage and again, like processes. Mm-hmm. Or you start to get into dive into like a spiritual side, which is, they're basically one and the same. It's just one has been here way longer than the other, and the other got their ideas from the one.
And surprisingly, the one that got the ideas is more widely accepted.
Right. And so once you start to realize, like, this label people pleaser or people pleasing as a thing, you're like, hold on, man. So I'm living in a lower vibe, right, which would be considered lower nature. And I'm operating on the fear side. So the fear side is making me do the things that I want to do, or the things that I think how I got to please people all the time, mm-hmm. right? And I can't please myself. But you take that same thing and you start operating out of quote unquote love, your higher nature, your divinity, same thing. You know what people need, right. Because you can feel shit, right? And so I know, like, for us men, it's when we say feel, like, some people their shoulders start to move like this, like niggas shit so start to move. Crazy. You feel me? Like, what does this feel, right? And I know a lot of the times we say it's not about feelings, because they say women, y'all operate out of your feelings and emotions, but them shits is there for a reason. So me, I can come up with logical solutions because I'm able to manage how I feel. So because I know how I feel and I know the cues, right, through all of the trauma and not wanting to, to separate and all of this shit, mm-hmm. now it's easier for me to pick up and read the room. I can literally sense what's going on with people that I don't even know, right? So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about in the podcast. Like, we're going to take you through the steps, and I'm not going to dump it all in one podcast. Then what else would the fuck we had to talk about? Right. You know what I'm saying?
We end with season 1, season 2, episode 1, and we be done.
Yeah. So we're going to take you through all of these different processes. We're going to interview people and see how it affected them in their life. And shit, it might even be you. You know what I'm saying? And there's ways to reach out to us, and we'll, share those at a later podcast. But for now, I think this was a good episode to stop and this is a good stopping point. So it doesn't cut off.
And let's not forget that, while we're interviewing people and while we're sharing like all of these ways how people pleasing has affected us, we get to share with you the triumph, right? How we have grown and ascended to a place where we don't allow the toxic traits to really seep into our lives anymore.
Yeah.
And the lives of our guests.
Facts. I want to say this camera is off now. Mm-hmm. This one is still on.
Okay. Because it's been 30 minutes.
Yeah. So cool.
I think this was good.
It was really good.
I think this was really good.
It's how we always be talking, though. We shoot like this all the time.
Right.
And we just came to the point where it was like, all right, well, if we having all of these breakthrough moments and conversations, why not start sharing with the people, get the people involved, start providing some insights and information, you know what I'm saying?
We found a solution for y'all.
Yeah. And podcasting is wide open. It is not as limited as you think. You know what I'm saying? You're only getting fed, but 1% of the entire social media world, so hopefully we can put our needle in and thread our way through as well. You know what I'm saying? But till next time. I love
your analogies.
Yeah, till next time, man. You feel me?
Later, guys.
Can I talk my shift?